Hi guys, in this video I'm going to talk to you about how to change your business culture, a topic that's become way too overcomplicated in my perspective. I've done this with many organisations and clients during my time as a management consultant with one of the big four from the professional services industry, and it really doesn't need to be as hard as everyone makes out. There are essentially 5 key steps, and I'm going to talk you through each in turn, but just to give you an overview, they are assess, decide, embed, support, and sustain. I'll talk you through each one. So assess is really, to begin with, you do want to spend a bit of time understanding the current culture that you have. I've got another video that will talk you through how to do a culture assessment, how to do it simply, easily, and internally, so you don't need to pay lots of expensive consultants to do it for you. But you do want to spend some time understanding what are the current most common behaviors? What's going on the ground? How do employees feel? What's their perspective of leadership? Do people share knowledge and collaborate? Are people inspired by the vision of the business? Is people's well-being being supported? There's tons of questions and just things you want to just get a grasp of. Don't assume that, if you're in a leadership or management position, you've got it all already, because that's your perspective, but that might not be everyone else's. So do spend a bit of time understanding your current culture. So that's assess. Decide. Once you've understood that, you want to be really clear on what that future culture needs to look like for you. And to do that, you just want to bring a small group together and spend some time defining your organizational values. Probably 4 or 5 is the most, I would say. If you've already got organizational values and you're still looking to change your culture, then ultimately you need to revisit those and figure out what's not working about these. How do we need to better define them? What do we need to refresh? The important thing about your values is you don't just have values. You need to describe them at the behavioral level. So each one, let's say one of yours is collaboration. Beneath that, you need to have 1 or 2 behavioral statements that tell people what you mean by collaboration. What does it look like? If you look on Google, there's tons of examples of this, or if you look on culturepal.com, my business, which gives loads of support around how to do culture change and culture, it will give you examples of how to do this and what those behavioral statements need to look like. If you don't have behavioral statements, you can't fully embed, step number 3, your new culture. So when you come to embed, there's 2 important aspects to this. One is communicating it. That doesn't just mean send everyone an email and tell them that we've got new values and they need to do things differently. That means create a campaign around it. And by campaign, I really mean like a PR campaign, like more than just communications. Think about all the different channels, plan it over, a month or 2, really get the message out there through everything that you can think of. So leaders getting up, making videos, doing road shows, if you've got, offices or different locations, inviting people to a values launch, session on Zoom, getting everyone really excited, bringing out success stories and examples, and then obviously doing all the other things as well. So sending lots of emails, communications, having it up in the office, screensavers, email signatures, all the ways that you can get it out there. And then it's got to live and breathe, and continue being seen by people. And then the second one is training. And this is the funny one, because you'd be amazed at how many people don't kind of see training and values as a real thing, because it's not like you can be so objective about here's the knowledge or skills you're going to learn in this training and we can mark you for it and assess you and it's very kind of clear. It's not about that. But you should still do training. You should still invite people and think about different cohorts, peers, seniority, groups, functions, how you might group people and who you might bring in, managers, leaders, to support the training. I would make sure it's, internally run. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It's just bringing people together and spending time making sure you've understood the values together, the behaviors, what they look like. You've talked about examples of those behaviors and examples that would be contrary to those behaviors. So what does it look like? What doesn't it look like? What are the things we can do to support more of what it looks like? And what are the things we should do to stop more of what it doesn't look like? And just bringing people together to make sure they've really understood it. And that's really how you're going to embed it then. And then you want to do some refresher training like that, every 6 months or so. And you definitely want to do that for new recruits as well. And really embed it into your recruitment process. A key part of making sure your values are lived every day is hiring people who represent them. Make sure you interview and assess people based on those characteristics, really kind of test them on that. Be sure that they fit that criteria. And then the 4th one is support. So this is about what else do we need to do in our working environment, in our processes, in our technology, in our organization design to support these values and behaviors. So let's say if we want people to come into the office and be really collaborative, but our office setup is very much like separate desks, not really any space to sit and mingle and talk, then that's counterintuitive to what you're trying to create in people's behavior. if we're really process driven and we've got lots of kind of decision making that needs to happen at high levels and people are, never really empowered to take their own decision, but our value is empowerment, then all of our processes are against helping people to feel empowered. So we need to figure out what are the things that stop that we can change now. Technology is a huge one as well that obviously supports with collaboration, knowledge sharing, trying out things and learning, innovation, whatever it might be. Look at all the different aspects in the physical environment, in your processes, in the way you use technology, in your HR, all of your HR approaches. What are we doing currently that might not be quite supporting those values that we now need to change to make sure those behaviors can be embedded? And then number 5 is sustain. So this is the really important one, because this is about saying, if we've done this and we feel, it will take a good, 4, 5, 6 months to get feeling like it's really embedded. What do we now do to sustain it? Don't forget that. Keep going, keep celebrating, do your values awards, tell success stories, do a kind of refresher every 6 months where if you're doing an offsite, the values are a big part of it. Keep referring to those values in leadership communications with clients, with how you make decisions in key meetings. Make sure leaders talk about that. If you win a big project or something goes well for the business, reference how the values helped. Keep them alive. Don't kind of neglect them and assume that they will just stay, happening, and really hold leaders accountable for that, because they're the ones that, really need to be the ambassadors to protect those values and really keep them alive. So as I said, do go to culturepal.com, loads of support and help, including a culture survey you can use really easily and simply if you want to assess your culture. And I've got other videos that will tell you how to do your own culture assessment, in a really easy way. Hope you found this useful. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.